Howdy viewers, how you folks doing? Here's my 1989 Toastmaster 20-inch box fan, model 204220. I might be wrong on that. I can't precisely remember, but we'll find that. We'll flip it over in a little bit and figure out what that is. Anyway, yeah, this is a fan that I've had for about 3 years now, and pretty good example for one, I'd say. It's not dented or beat up or anything like that. One thing I noticed, I don't know, that might have happened when in my ownership or the previous ownership, there's a plastic grill slot that is certain to broken on one side. I can get around to repairing that when I get a chance. But just seeing, I figured I'd do a revisit on this one because it's been a while. Still runs great, great running fan. These were largely considered to be the cheapo fans of the 1980s, and there's a few things that kind of really kind of prove that. But overall, I mean, as far as build quality goes, yeah, these are pretty average, run-of-the-mill, kind of cheaply produced fans. But however, the motor and the blade set on this fan is begs a lot to differ. I mean, these fans push a lot of air. Most people that own one of these kind of knows that these things are kind of I've heard them referred to as the thin and tipsy, because they like to tip over. They will literally blow themselves over on high speed and knock themselves over, which I feel like led to a lot of their demise throughout the decades, as people throwing them on high or just running them and not having any feet installed or not having them propped up against something. When I use this fan, I prop it up against like the corner of a wall or something, just so it keeps it from tilting backwards. And I feel like a lot of these met their demise from being knocked over and the blade breaks, and then you have all that to deal with. And yeah. Side. It is a brown color with a kind of a tan blade set and tan front guard. I like to call this fan my coffee time fan because it just kind of resembles that aesthetic. Side, it's got holes for a stand if you wanted to mount it on a stand. I don't think I've ever seen one of these fans particularly used on a stand, though it would make sense, seeing how these things do like to tip over a lot. Here's the back of it. Get the full-size McGraw Edison motor, which are mounted to the back grill with 3 bolts. This rear guard is not meant to be removed, although I believe you can, but it would just alter the construction of the fan, sort of, so to say. Yeah, they're really not meant to be removed, and I feel like if you did, it would possibly be a big pain in the ass to put it back together. And yeah, another problem with these is sometimes the grill, this metal guard here, will get dented in or something, and it will cause the motor and the fan blade to set kind of off center, kind of cockeyed, so it would, they would rub against the front guard, things like that, and that's a whole different issue of itself. Again, that's kind of why it falls under the name of the cheapo fan of the 80s. At the top of it, I put my own handle on here, just because the original handle, that would have been like a kind of like a Galaxy or Lasco from the early 90s, late 80s. It had the thin box flexible handle. Those tend to break a lot, and I imagine on these they were really thin and they almost always break. So when I got this fan, it did not have a handle, so I installed a reliable handle on it. It's 3 speeds. Yeah. So we got some information on the motor here. It says Toastmaster thermalate protected type 203 PEG, 115 volts, 2.8 amps, 60 hertz, US patent. Yep. Made in the good old USA. Sorry about that. And now we'll flip it over and get the information. It is Edison model 204022A. So I was close. To be honest, it's a little hard to remember. 115 volts, 2.6 amps on the frame, as opposed to the 2.8 on the stated on the motor. 60 hertz. Toastmaster, Incorporated, Boonesville, Missouri. And here's the date stamp for December of 1988. So I believe this was a 1989 model, built for 1989 season. All right, so let me go ahead and get it up, flip it around, and plug it in and fire it up. Be right back. So you can see it here is the cord. It's definitely got the 80s style kind of cord. These style cords ran into the 90s with a lot of the Lasco box fans, Lakewoods, etc. Oh yeah, and the blade set on these fans, the style, these are kind of like the early precursors to what the first generation of the Holmes box fans, when Holmes, I guess, took over the Edison Toastmaster patent. So blade sets are really nice. You got good pitch. They move pretty good air. I did do a little modification to this. I put a vent hole here, which most of these fans didn't have a motor vent hole, so put one there just to kind of help cool the motor down, have air pass through it, and hopefully adding to its longevity of life. So yep, go ahead and get it plugged in and finally fire it up. All right, plugged in, ready to go. Here it is, high. You have to hold it to see it once you sit back. See, I have to prop it up against the TV because it wants to flip back. As you can see, it is blowing the blades of my HV9, which is considerable distance from it. I'm running at 2.0 amps, 155 watts. Medium. Even on medium, it still wants to kind of tip back. I have to put feet on this. Medium are at 1.5 amps, even, 114 watts. Low speed, I can let it go. It doesn't want to tip back. So, yay. 1.19 amps, 89 watts. Back too high. So yeah, aside from it wanting to tip over almost instantaneously, um, these are, for the cheap fans of the 80s, these are actually a lot better than the modern garbage that's made today. That's for sure. So there it is, my 1989 Toastmaster 20-inch box fan. Hope you enjoyed. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And until the next one, see you then.